You are not underperforming. You're being mismanaged. Stop. Before you blame yourself, what if the leadership model being used to judge you is the real problem? What if one of the world's most widely taught leadership models isn't just misunderstood, fundamentally flawed? The Situational Leadership II model, or SL2, asks leaders to assess competence and commitment, place leaders into neat quadrants, and respond with a prescribed style. It promises clarity, control, and predictability. But real workplaces are not control environments, and people are not static variables to be classified. Because the uncomfortable question is this: what if the very act of labeling someone as low competence or low commitment is not a diagnosis, but a distortion? What if those labels may say more about the leader's assumptions than the individual's capability? In this podcast, we are not refining SL2. We are putting it on trial. We'll question its foundations, examine how it collapses under real world complexity, and explore how rigid frameworks can erode trust, agency, and performance. Sara had joined Engineering Brothers & Co. as the head of human resources. She had a fresh, energetic personality and enjoyed conversations about latest development in her field. Human resources should shape the future of organizations. She said during her introduction meeting, CEO decided to onboard her without a second thought. She's exactly the kind of energy we need, he remarked to his leadership team. The CEO called her into his office with a colored printout of the SL2 model in front of him. He asked her to take a seat and peered at her from beneath his large round spectacles.
I have been thinking lately about what leadership style I should apply to coach and develop you. I believe that you are an enthusiastic learner, D1.
Okay, I appreciate that, but I would love to share a bit about how I...
Let me finish. This will be best for your development.
Sara attempted to interject but was not allowed to share her views. The CEO surmised that Sara's administrative acumen was low.
OD background. Strong on ideas, weak on structure.
So he categorized her accordingly and began treating her in that manner. Sara had been the front face of a merger in her previous organization. From firefighting to planning and implementing, she had done it all. Her current role was much more than a task. Instead, it was a constellation of activities requiring different skills, from data analysis to manpower planning and group conflict mediation. The role asked for all. Over the course of the next month, he started micromanaging all aspects of her role to justify that he was providing her with a directive style of leadership along with the necessary support.
Sara, I need you to send me the draft before you finalize it and also loop me in before you speak to the team and next time. Please check with me before making that decision.
Understood.
Sara nodded each time. Of course, she would respond, though her tone gradually lost its initial energy. She was high in competence, but her productivity was influenced by her beliefs and engagement with the current. I've done similar transformations before. One evening, she sat at her desk, staring outside the window. Why am I second guessing everything? She whispered to herself. This isn't how I work. She's clearly in quadrant one. He once told a colleague confidently. Low competence, high commitment. Needs direction. Meanwhile, Sara confided in a peer.
He tells me exactly what to do and then disappears. I don't know whether to take initiative or wait.
While the CEO struggled to understand why his leadership style was not working, Sara became increasingly disillusioned, feeling disempowered and unable to do her best work to lead her team to success.
I joined to build something meaningful. I don't feel trusted enough.
A few days later, the CEO called her in again.
Sara, I've been reviewing your progress. I still feel that you need close guidance.
Can I share something?
Yes, go on.
I don't think I'm lacking direction. I think I'm lacking space.
Comes after consistency.
I have been consistent.
Yeah.
But every time I take initiative, I'm asked to step back.
That's because you're still developing.
Later that evening, speaking softly to herself as she packed her bag, she
I
said,
don't think he ever really saw me.
The CEO spoke to another manager.
I don't understand. I followed the model exactly. Why isn't she improving?
Maybe.
Maybe what? Sarah is not the problem. The model is.
Situational Leadership II model proposes that effective leadership depends on matching your style to an individual's development level on a specific task, based on competence and commitment. It outlines 4 development levels. So we have D1, which means low competence and high commitment, D2, which means some competence but low commitment, D3, high competence, variable commitment, and D4, high competence and high commitment. Correspondingly, leaders adopt 4 styles: S1 directing, S2 coaching, S3 supporting, and S4 delegating, mapped across 4 quadrants, aligning each development level with the appropriate leadership style. The essence of SL2 is flexibility, adapting your approach as the individual evolves. So, what's the problem? The problem is that SL2 looks at development levels and sees a starting point. But human beings don't come with clean starting points. They come with histories, with disappointments, resentments, and reservations that have nothing to do with competence and everything to do with experience. The model asks, how much does this person know and how motivated are they? But it never asks, why do they feel the way they feel? What happened to them before they walked in through this door? What would it take for them to actually trust this place? Blanchard built a framework that works reasonably well when people arrive as blank slates. But people are never blank slates. And if your leadership model can't see the actual human being standing in front of you, if it can only see a category assigned to them before they even open their mouth, then it isn't a leadership model. It's a filing system. And nobody was ever inspired by a filing system.